Hello and welcome to your Tuesday catch-up of This is Ibrox. Tonight I'll be your host, Kieran Wallace, and we'll be going through all the ins, which there has been, what we expect are the outs, which there's maybe not been enough of, what's happening around Rangers, and a wee quick look over Russell Martin's time so far at Rangers, which has been very short, and what the expectations could be. But couldn't be joined by a better person tonight. Shug, how are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. Nice to see another one in the door today, and obviously starting to get excited about the game starting now. Just seems quick, and it seems quite upcoming now. It's we're all looking forward to getting back to competitive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll look ahead to the Panathinaikos game, which is coming around pretty quickly. It's a week. We'll be kicking off half an hour from now, a week from now. So, yeah, that's coming around pretty quickly. You mentioned there one coming in today. Rangers announced the signing of Djeidi Gassama from Sheffield Wednesday. The Rangers official website posted Rangers Football Club are today pleased to announce the signing of Jedi Kasama from Sheffield Wednesday on a 4-year deal. The exciting winger, 21, becomes the latest attacking addition to Russell Martin's squad. Having spent the last 2 years in the EFL Championship, Gassama joined the youth ranks of PSG in 2019 after impressing in Brest Academy as a teenager. Now, I'm not going to go through the full thing there because I'll run out of breath. Shug, I would be surprised if you weren't excited by this one.
No, very exciting one. It's one of the ones you wait to see the wingers and attacking players that come in. Exciting one, looking at his footage, looking at everything Sheffield Wednesday fans say about him. He's a exciting young player that can come straight in, make an impact, and really get the attention of the fans. And it's something obviously we've been badly missing. We're really lacking in wingers. So it's one where we're all excited to get in. It's just been a bit of a nervous few days, just waiting for it to get over the line. So glad he's on board now.
I know, it was one of the ones. See, when the picture leaked and he had that Red Rangers training shirt on, I think it was JB said in our chat, this is going to be our team's Jardel, isn't it? So for any younger viewers or listeners on, like when Mario Jardel, apparently signed years ago, he was top Brazilian striker. It all fell through because of famous red tape, but it was pictured, basically the unveiling pictures with the shirt and the club tie and all sorts on, and it fell through. Actually scored an unbelievable volley against us for Galatasaray in the Champions League. So anyway, I digress. You said it yourself, an exciting winger. I don't know about you. I've read a lot and listened to a lot of the Sheffield Wednesday podders, and I've read a lot of the comments from Sheffield Wednesday fans basically singing his praises, and for 2.3 million, none of them can believe we've picked him up for that. A lot quoting that he would be worth over 10 million. Like, surely we've got a bargain here.
Yeah, and his pedigree is good. He grew up at the PSG. Came through. There, managed to make a breakthrough into their first team as well. So it looks as if we've got a bargain. We've capitalised on. I don't want to say capitalised because we've been in that position as a club before. It's not nice for fans, what Sheffield Wednesday fans have been going through recently. But we've worked quickly. We've got the deal done, and it looks as if it could be a real find.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, he can play off the right and he can play off the left. I think his preferred position's off the left. I hope we just don't do that thing where, didn't we buy Rabi Matondo? I hate to quote that against the new sign his name. Didn't we buy Rabi Matondo as a right winger, but he was actually a left winger? I hope we don't do that thing with him because we're crying out for a right winger. But it's one of these ones, like all the YouTube videos of him, he looks he looks fantastic. Raw pace, he's got a trick about him. It's just how that develops into what he'll do at Rangers. Now, we'll look ahead later in the show about this Panathinaikos game, but for me, I really hope that there's enough time for him to get up to speed quickly. From what I hear, we had a friendly today at the training ground. Rangers winning 4-1 against Dunfermline. I don't know any more than that, but the scoreline, as far as I know, is pretty accurate. In terms of the comments of the Sheffield Wednesday fans and stuff, I've not seen a bad one about him, a bit like the Joe Rothwell stuff. Do you know what I hate seeing, though? I think somebody said this in another pod, and I don't know if that's where I'm picking it up from. See when they say, take care of him. Like, what do you think we're going to do to
him? Cheers, funny plan on him, but now you've said that. But no, it is good, though, you get, because wingers usually especially young wingers, can be quite inconsistent. So usually they divide fan bases. I mean, and attacking players in generally. I mean, I think of Tillman, for example. Most of our fans with a good set of eyes were saying he's a superb player, but I remember so many saying, "Oh, he's lazy. He doesn't do enough of this. He doesn't do enough of that." So attacking players can always sort of divide the fan base a little bit. So I've really seen everybody commenting, Sheffield Wednesday fans, all saying nothing but good things about him, which can only be a good sign.
Yeah, the only negative I've picked up on is that it can be slightly inconsistent, but I don't see us signing a youth player that's completely consistent throughout his sort of short career so far. These type of players are out with our price range now. What excites me here is that how often in the past, and even the recent past, that we've signed these players from down south who have maybe been down on their luck, and we are looking to sort of rejuvenate their careers and bring them back up. And it feels like the signing of Gassama, and I'll throw Asgard in there, is us getting two young players who haven't even touched their peak yet. We're getting them at a good price, what it looks like on paper, and that we're going to develop them further. And hopefully these guys can be sellable assets, but sellable assets after winning trophies at Rangers. That's what we'll be looking at.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. We do tend to sign players like that because we think we're getting a bargain. Somebody that's maybe had a bad season, we then pick them up for a cheaper value and hope that we can, kind of kickstart their career. And not saying it doesn't happen. There's some cases where it does, but in a lot of cases, to come and gain confidence, Rangers isn't the place for you. Do you know what I mean? You need to come in flying. We're not the type of club where you've got 6 months to get your bad performances out the way and get your confidence back and get your career back on track. So it's good to see we're actually signing players who are in good form, who are doing well at their clubs and that are ready to kind of push on and take the next steps with us, rather than the other way about, where it's guys that they've probably had a big move, it's not worked out, and we're then trying to build them back up again.
Yeah, and the other thing as well that I read, just saying you've not really get time. Excuse me, I should chuck being the host. I can't even speak. You'd not really get time to bed in. I think I read somewhere that he only missed 3 games last year for Sheffield Wednesday. So again, I think it was under the radar a wee bit that he's robust. So fingers crossed on that one. We'll move on now, Shug. A wee rumour that popped up today, and it was actually Fabrizio Romano that posted this, linking us with 2 seconds. I'll actually just read what was posted by Fabrizio Romano. It says, Volendam defender Xavier Mbuyamba, I think I've pronounced that right, on the radar of Rangers and Ghent. Volendam have opened the door to a sale of former Chelsea defender with €500,000 price tag after he refused to extend his current contract. English clubs keen as well. How do we look into this guy? He's 6'5" centre back. He's come through the youth ranks at Chelsea. Moved over to Holland, to which he looks as if he's had a decent career, still quite young at only 23, I think I just read there. And that fee seems very, very, value again there. One thing I would say about him, he's had a heart condition. He came back, I think it was around about last summer, after having a defib fitted. Don't know if that's got anything to do with the price tag or where he's playing his football currently, but on paper and looking at the radar graphs and everything that comes with this guy, looks like another bargain if we can get this one over the line. And if it's true, if it's come from Romano, I would presume it's true.
Yeah, there's usually a good bit of substance in it if he's tweeting it. So no, I think looking at the clips of him and everything that's said about him, he looks a very good defender, quick, athletic, good on the ball, strong in the everything you've got really that you'd want out of a defender. The heart condition, yeah, that's probably played a part in where he's playing just now. I don't think either is are qualified to say whether that will cause him any issues, but so many players will have stuff like that nowadays where it can be fixed, and it can be, so he's obviously been playing regular football, so I don't, I don't want to read too much into it. The good thing is getting a defender of that age. Centre backs are very, very hard to come by. You either get them at the end of their career or they're very, very raw. So if you can get somebody that can come in is at a very good level and, can come on and do really well for us. It also, I know we don't really want to think about this before a guy's even, we properly know if they're coming in the door, but there's a big sell-on value if you come and have a good couple of years at the club, because good centre-backs are a premium in world football.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said there about a lot of football players. Scott Hammond with the comments here, and thanks everyone for the comments so far. Keep them coming. We'll post the best of them and answer any questions you've got. Goldson came back from a heart scare. I know it's a different condition, but Connor Goldson was our fastest ever player to 400 appearances for Rangers. You also look at the likes of Daley Blind, Christian Eriksen, both have the defib fitted. So players can carve a big career. So aside from that, everything I see with this guy, the one thing that's been jumping out to me is his aerial duels that he's won. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I think it was one of the senior reps from Luton the other day. No, not Luton. I'm getting mixed up with all these transfers. Peterborough the other day was talking about the signing of Emmanuel Fernandez to us, saying about how his aerial duels won were some of the highest in the league. Yeah. And that's why he attracted interest from a Serie A club, and other clubs and Rangers had to get in quickly. To me, again, we're looking at two similar styles here and two similar types. To me, this says this might be a sort of data-driven target, that we're looking for a specific profile of player. You look at last season and you look at why, and we'll get on to it. Robin Propper might be getting moved out the door because he was terrible in the air. He was a shrinking violet when it came to physicality in the league. This is possibly why we're targeting this guy. Would you agree that that's an outstanding need for this team?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have the stats, but the amount of chances and goals we lost from long balls, just a straightforward punt up the park, and I'm not doing any disservice to other clubs. Like St Mirren used to just put a couple of big physical strikers up and they knew. I'm not saying all they done was go long, but that's all they really needed at the time. Quick break, put the ball up, and they bullied us. So I think it's a big thing that has to be corrected. We physically at the back couldn't handle, balls in the air and going and winning the first contact. We were getting, I remember Proper, I forget his name, but St Mirren striker, he would just pin him and just roll him every time. And we're adding that physicality. That's him. Yeah, he absolutely gave our defenders a torrid time. And I think to make it, simple, you need, if you're going to be a centre back in Scotland, you need to be able to go and win the ball in the air.
Absolutely. And looking at the comments again, we've had Kyle of this parish calling us Edging Christian. That goes out to any WWE fans that's currently listening. I prefer the Legion of Doom. We're a wee bit more old school than that. Touched on Robin Propper there, Shug. He's made the headlines and quite a lot of them just because of a technicality that seems to have been made public. It must be from his end, his agent or his reps. I'm not sure that he's willing to move to FC20. We've accepted a bid of 1.5 million, but he wants his payout for Rangers. Now, from what I gathered in a really insightful video that was from the Fosscast, Ben Foster's podcast, was about how players handing in transfer requests isn't really the done thing because they give up their rights for what the team would owe them. So my take, what I've gathered from it is, say for example, he's on 15,000 a week here and 20 are offering 8,000 a week. We want rid of him, so he's our problem. So we should pay up what we owe him. Can you see this one getting done sooner? Can you see it rumbling on? Or is this maybe the reason why we've targeted the likes of Mbuyamba?
I think he's if Robin Propper was one of our main earners at the club, I would see this being a bigger problem. I would see it dragging out for a long time. Because he's, from everything we hear, he's not one of the biggest earners at the club. I don't see how it makes sense for us to rumble on too long for either us, for the player, or for FC20. I just don't see a situation where it makes sense for him to be, rotting in the squad and, not involved at all for even to January for that amount of money. It just wouldn't make sense for MD. So yeah, I think the player's got his rights and his agent will be working on his behalf. Ultimately, he wants to get back there. We want to move him on. 20 want him. The deal will get done. I just think there's a bit of back and forth going on just now. And it probably, when I first read the headlines, I probably think slightly different of it than I do now. I just think I'd be very disappointed if he's still in the squad. But come the end of the transfer window, just in terms it would make zero sense. So they will come to a deal, I'm sure, and hopefully it's sooner or later. But I agree to an extent that the club kind of just doesn't roll over and just pay players what they want to go.
Yeah.
He wants to move as well, so do we. So there has to be a bit of coming and going. So I think it's one of those ones that will resolve itself over hopefully the coming days.
I think what this kind of reaffirms for me is that when Robin Proper came in, and we spoke about it on the show, that he ticked a lot of boxes. He was experienced. He was a captain. He had come off the back of good form. I think he had European experience with 20, but this doesn't matter. It all depends what you do in a Rangers shirt on the pitch. And for me, he has just been an absolute terrible signing. That's what we say. We can talk the new guys up that have come in just now. They all look good on paper so far, but it just depends what they do in a Rangers shirt, what games they win, what trophies they lift, and how they progress. And I think Robin Proper's the perfect example on that. But I don't want to stick in that too long. Just quickly get your opinion on the John Souttar situation. Looks as if there's a bid of somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million come from Trabzonspor over in Turkey. Currently got a year left in his deal. We've got no idea what the contract situation is. Where do you stand in this?
If that's the case, we've got the bid, and he would be willing to move there. Which I don't know if he is. I don't know if this is just a bit of a move from the agent just to see what to force Rangers' hand, or I don't really know. For me though, if that offer's there, I would be taking it. I mean, he's only got 1 year left on his deal. I think the big part is he's been very injury prone during that time. I think there's massive pros to John Souttar's a good defender. He's, there is a chance he could go on his next move, do very well. Always seems to play well with Scotland as well. The guy's a good defender. He's got a lot of the attributes. He's good on the ball. He's strong. His timing, his tackles is good. He is a good defender. His problem for us is his concentration. He's more a siege defender who's better when he's under constant pressure. With us, too many times last season and the season before as well, he switches off, and because we didn't have really good defenders and a goalkeeper on form around him, he got punished for a lot of those mistakes, which maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but there was a stage when it was almost a goal a game, or a big chance a game, and we probably need to upgrade there, and we need somebody that can be fit and relied on, and I just don't think he's went on to be that mainstay centre half that we really wanted him to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going to jump to one of the comments here, Shug, from Kenny RFC. Thanks to everybody for the comments so far. Just before I get to this, thanks for everybody tuning in so far live. Please make sure you subscribe to us so that you get that notification when we go live. We're live at 7:30 every Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday night. Once the game's kicked in, we'll be doing the post-match. So we've got a hell of a lot of content. We don't take any for doing it. We don't take any from you guys. We just do it for the love of Rangers, and you've been part of this. So please, if you've not subscribed already, please make sure you click that button below. Okay, back to the comment, Shug. Kenny RFC, the danger is that it sets a precedent, giving the amount of squad players we still need to shift in terms of the proper stuff and the money back. Reason I mention this is that it looks like Ridvan Yilmaz is starting to make noise of moving back to Besiktas, and it almost feels like we hear this every single transfer window. He's one that's maybe on a fair bit more money than the likes of Robin Proper.
Yeah.
Time's up for Ridvan, surely. Like, brought in quite a strange signing, actually. We sold Bassey, and this was kind of looked upon as Bassey's replacement with the complete opposite attributes to Calvin Bassey. Would you be happy to see Ridvan go?
Yeah, I think it's just it's a player of ability. There's no doubt about that. I think Ridvan has had games where I've thought he's been very good, but he's not suited to Scottish football. Not only that, it's that other problem. He's not robust enough to play so many games of Scottish football. He's injured so much. He's never had a proper run of games. So this idea, we keep saying if we can get him fit, time's up for Ridvan. If he again wants to get that move, it suits us to get some money in for him and get him off the wage bill. We should absolutely make it happen. Yeah,
it's another one that's just not worked out. And somebody else, I just want to touch on this one because I wasn't actually going to mention it. I was going to mention it later in the show, but I don't know if you heard the third part of the interview with Russell Martin from St George's today, and he mentioned the leadership group. and I think it's triggered a few fans. Paul in the comments has said the most terrifying thing today was Russell Martin mentioning Tav, Butland and Dow in the so-called leadership group. Terrifying. I think the name that jumps out there the most is Kyran Dow. We all expected him to probably be playing for Birmingham right now, if we're really honest. Is he maybe one of the ones that Russell Martin keeps quoting as he's surprised with some players when he comes in at clubs? Do you think Dow could be that one? Is the word says they're terrifying for some fans?
I mean, I wouldn't read too much in him saying that the kind of leader. I think what he more meant is the guys that are already there helping helping the new players settle in, and he's maybe trying to give those guys a wee boost as well because he knows he'll need them, particularly in the early stages. So he's maybe not playing a game, but you know what I mean on that side. On Dow, I don't really see him being a big player, right? I think he's never really showed us that he's got enough as a player. That being said, I thought during last season, the way Clement used him, no player could have been successful. He would just throw him in every so often, then hook him at half time. He never really, and then expecting miracles off him. Again, I don't think Dow will go on to be a big player for us or anything like that. But potentially he's been one of those ones that surprised him. He's got a bit of confidence from his time at Birmingham, and he's done well in training and maybe in the closed doors sort of games. He's shown a bit. So it might be, you never know, and I'm always for this. They're all Rangers players at the end of the day. We all want them to do well. So if guys come in, let's be honest, not many of them have any goodwill in the bank, but whether it's Dow, whether it's Bezrami or whoever, if they come in, work their socks off during pre-season and they want to turn everybody's opinion, then we'd all love to see it happen.
Yeah, and on the three that I mentioned, that leadership group, Robert Robertson, he's such a good comment, they named him twice. Those three couldn't lead a horse to drink. I like that, I like it. Anyway, so keeping with the Russell Martin stuff, I think you and I were pretty vocal and we were in agreement before he came in that he wouldn't have been our choice as manager.
Yeah.
Having seen him through the pre-season, I think we're 4 or 5 weeks into the pre-season now, about 6 weeks into him being in the job. It isn't really an assessment of his time at Rangers, but has he went some way to change your mind? I know he has with me, and I'm quite enjoying listening to him at the moment. Are you in the same camp?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, absolutely same as you. It wasn't a name, and probably I didn't really know enough about him as a manager, but I probably just, kind of for whatever reason, I didn't really fancy him coming in. Now I'm trying to avoid getting too carried away on the full he speaks well, because I said that about several managers, in the past, and all of us have done the same. It's all about how we do. But I think everything coming out of him, everything you hear, everything you're hearing little bits from the club, but everything about the kind of training camps and stuff, it all seems positive. I know all the noises are coming out are positive. Again, we're only going to find out when we start to see the evidence. I don't expect it to be a quick fix. I think it will take time, but we'll see. We need to get behind. But I'm feeling a lot more positive about the guy, and I think just my attitude changed the minute he was announced, because there's no point being negative about him. If whether he was your choice or not, when somebody gets announced the job, you get behind them and you're positive about them until they prove you otherwise. So, no, I'm feeling good about it. Again, within reason. As I said, a comment on there, I seen Beale speaks well and Clement spoke well. They did until the pressure came on, and then they totally changed. So we'll see how he does, but I think everybody's feeling a bit, or the majority are feeling a bit more positive and a bit more, behind them.
Yeah, I agree with what you said there in terms of speaking well and sorry, I've had a mind blank. In terms of Russell Martin, and sorry, I'll go back to the original point. What I like about, we're talking about him speaking well, right? What I like is that he's not speaking to us like we're stupid, right? I feel like Clement, in a way, kind of treated the fans as if I know what I'm talking about and you don't know what you're talking about. And I think that's, like you're saying, that's the point that I really liked, that you said that you don't really get a good impression of these guys, or the impression that we're looking for, until they're acting the way they're acting against sort of negativity, and when things aren't going their way. That's when you see the sort of real managers and the real head coaches and how they step up in these big pressure situations. And for Clement, he shrunk. I think I'll take the Gassama incident as well, with the picture leaked of him with the red T-shirt on and the Rangers badge. And the next day in the interview, and Russell Martin said, yeah, everything's done at our end. I'll be very surprised if he's not our player. I felt like Clement would have tried to convince you that was some sort of Photoshop and the background was not St George's Park and that we weren't interested in Gassama. It feels like he talks like we're human, but going by the eye test and like you say, what you hear, listen to Andy Halliday talking in open goal, saying about the players really buying into him. I know Andy's not at Rangers anymore, but I think he must speak to Liam Kelly quite often. I think they're pretty close. I'm just guessing there. But to me, all the noise is coming out, and when you watch the training videos and the eye test and stuff like that, I like what I'm seeing. But again, we go back to what Rangers do on the pitch, and I said it right at the start. Russell Martin will be a failure at Rangers if he's not backed. We can't say he's not been backed so far because we are addressing problems in the squad. We're not quite at that forward line yet, but it looks like we've started to build from the back. Where do you see, like under Martin, where you think we still need to improve in terms of signings coming in the door?
I think there's still a good bit of work to be done. And I said on the last pod, I don't think we'll have the complete squad this window. I think it's going to take time to get that in place. We're not going to be able to shift out everything that we need to shift out. We're not going to get all the targets in time. We've had to work quickly because the takeover rolled into the summer, which, you know, that's understandable. And by the time we made the appointments, we probably were, you know, behind, well behind in terms of recruitment. So it's not going to be ideal. I don't think it's going to be ideal by the end of the window. What I think we need, I think we still need potentially, we still need one centre back, particularly if Souttar goes. I think we need a left back. I don't think, I said in the last one, Yefty's up to the job. The goalkeeper, I think, is up in the air just now as well. I think if there's the right one to come in, then absolutely we can improve there. Midfield looks pretty set. Again, Raskin could leave. The likes of Bailey Rice could play a bigger impact than we thought. So, but I think right now, as we speak, our midfield is in a pretty good place. And I think we need probably two more wingers. And the strikers, we probably want freshened up. Again, we know Agaman is obviously a very good player. We know Dessler's way to go. We've spoke that to death about Dessler's on here. But we probably need that freshen up. We need the two strikers out, at least one of them out, and a new striker in as well on that side. So it's still loads of work for me.
Yeah. See, in terms of the players going out, and like you spoke about goalkeeper there, this is what I like about what's happening so far with Martin. He did speak quite openly about watching the team last season come towards the end of last season when he knew that this job might be a reality for him. Even the Jack Butland stuff, it felt like, right, do we need to address the goalkeeper problem? Or is this one that could be kicked down the road for another transfer window? It's almost like anybody from last year's disaster isn't safe. Anybody in this squad could be sold. Like when you go through the squad, there's no player there that Rangers would realistically say, right, you're staying. Even Souttar, you would have said that about Souttar. In Tav's case, I think 1 year left in the deal, big wages, you're probably not going to move him on this year. I like that there's a ruthlessness that we've not had before. And by the end of this window, like I expect Rangers to look like a completely different team than the team that ended last season.
Yeah, I think you're right. And in terms of, I think that will always be the case. Every player's for sale at Rangers because if you're doing really well, you're a big asset. And if the right price comes in for you, then you go. As well, the guys that have done what you would describe as okay, at times over the last couple of years, okay isn't good enough for where we want to get to, So, for me, nobody should be safe. Nobody should be looking at it from last season and thinking, my place is secure. I was brilliant last year because ultimately we won absolutely nothing. So big change are needed. And even the guys that you think are good players, we need to keep pushing them on. Competition's healthy for them. So I do like it. I like how he's not settled with anything. I like how everything's up for grabs. Good players will come in every position and challenge, and the best players will ultimately win those jerseys.
Yep, and we need to keep backing them. But as everyone knows, new setup, so 30-minute shows midweek. As Jamie Brown, our very own JB, has said in the comments here, like and subscribe to the pod trips, help the channel grow. We need your help, so please get involved. And thank you to everyone that's got involved so far. Thank you very much, Thug. I've called you worse, to be fair. Thank you very much, Shug, and thank you very much to everyone here. Good night.